I want to just start with a few opening remarks, including a few rules, okay? Over the course of the next couple of days, we're not going to talk about fixing prices or anything that can get us into any kind of legal problem. So I'm sure there's at least one lawyer in the audience, and if we get close to stepping over the bounds of what we can say, he'll blow the whistle for us, right? Okay. The second thing is we're not going to be talking about the differences in territories. That this is a group of retailers coming together as one big group rather than factions from different parts of the country or college stores versus suburban stores. This is we're all in this together, so let's try to break down the barriers of things that probably keep us from listening to other retailers. So no price fixing, no territories, and at least in this room, please no wagering. Okay. So welcome to the first ComicsPRO members meeting. It shows your commitment to take the time and expense coming here. So I want to thank you all for that, and I hope what happens here in the next couple of days you'll find to be a really good investment in your business and in the macro business of comics. The theme for the meeting is charting the course, and there are a lot of layers within that, a few of which I'm going to go to in a moment. But what I want to do before that, and before we announce the results of the election, which will happen at noon, and voting is still open until noon, the election for new board members, I think it's appropriate to officially introduce at our first meeting together the board of directors of ComicsPRO. First off, I want to introduce Amanda Fisher. You've all met her from Muse Comics in Missoula, Montana. Behind the scenes for the more than 3 years, this ComicsPRO idea, this concept, is something that's been brewing for more than 3 years, and Amanda's been behind the scenes, kind of pushing and prodding each of us to go forward with it. She's been doing lots of pro bono work to pull ComicsPRO together, and without her prodding, the founding of this organization might have been just another good thought rather than the reality that we're experiencing today. Amanda has 2 stores as well as 2 young kids, and is still taking on ComicsPRO work. So sometimes I complain about my plate being full. Also, Chris Powell from Lone Star in Dallas. Chris is responsible for the deals that are saving a lot of us some money on credit card processing, health insurance, and other benefits. Chris was a latecomer to the founding board of ComicsPRO, but has been a really tireless worker and very instrumental in the growth and effectiveness of the organization. He never stops unless there's a tiki bar nearby. Gary Dills from Phoenix, in the back, from Phoenix Comics in Virginia and Laughing Ogre in Ohio. He's done a lot of behind-the-scenes work for ComicsPRO, and he initially gave the group a head start with some financial backing. He's also been constant in his stubbornness to see the group move ahead. Stubborn is definitely a good word for Gary. Michael Drevis from Big Brain in Minneapolis continues to be a solid sounding board when ideas are bouncing around. He offers good advice to the group as well as volunteering for our telethon operations, of which there will be more to come. And Brian Hibbs of Comics Experience in San Francisco. I think you know him as the guy who put some significant dollars into many of our pockets when he did more than merely tilt at the Marvel windmill. Brian also organized the first regional ComicsPRO meeting in San Francisco a couple of months ago, and that's an idea that I really think each one of us can take back home. We need to take this meeting and extend it a whole lot when we get back home. We need to steal that idea for our local markets to build the retailer base of ComicsPRO. Each founding board member has given many hours, many days to getting this whole idea moved from concept to reality. So if you could show some of these people some appreciation. A number of our industry partners have really stepped up to help make this meeting more financially feasible. So over the course of the next 2 days, I want you to please show your appreciation for their commitment of time and money and sponsorship by being attentive to their messages, by attending their meals, and by participating in discussions that will move forward the whole business of comic book retailing. So thank you to Diamond, Alliance, WizKids, IDW, Virgin, Image. Thanks to DC Comics especially for not only sponsoring dinner tonight, but for being ComicsPRO's first major donor. Okay, so about that theme of charting the course. We have a mission statement that states 3 continuing goals for ComicsPRO: to reduce some of the fixed costs that all retailers incur. And that includes some of the things like the credit card processing, health insurance, the legal fees through LegalZoom, etc. One of the, and there are other programs that we want to talk about here for the next couple of days that fit each of the 3 mission statements, parts of the mission statement. We also need to encourage new store openings by way of mentoring first-time direct market retailers, and by encouraging the expansion of all of our operations. Our mutual success is the single biggest factor in the continuing effectiveness of ComicsPRO. The bigger we are, the harder it'll be for us to fall. We're going to be talking about membership drives here in a minute, but this is a really critical thing for us. So we need to constantly show our industry partners that we can grow the specialty market for comics. And the one that seems to be mean the most to most members and is the hardest to quantify is having the goal of having ComicsPRO retailers speak with a single, strong voice on important industry topics that affect us all. That's a hard one to quantify, but in ComicsPRO's short existence, actions have happened primarily at the board level. The first substantial vote is the thing that's going to be happening here today when we expand the board to 9 members. But I think it's key from this day forward that our agenda must be driven by the consensus of the membership, and we need to develop that consensus, and we need to develop that agenda here over the next 2 days. Whatever the collective voice of ComicsPRO ultimately becomes, when we speak out as a group, we need to do it in a spirit of cooperation, always proposing solutions and not just haranguing whoever is in our target. This group, as evidenced by the support we're already receiving from our suppliers, needs to be proactive rather than adversarial. In every business, there are talkers and there are doers. By being here today, you are the doers in the comics biz. You're not sitting back and waiting for things to happen to you. You're going out, you're being a part of a larger solution, and I thank you for taking that risk to be a part of this something bigger. The last 2 retailer organizations we had in this business both evaporated. I shut the lights out on the Direct Line group, and Pacer sort of went by the wayside at about the same time, and that was when the entire industry of comics was at its low point. Both of those organizations did some good things, but both came to an end when business went down. And what we're looking for is, now that we're in a position of strength, to keep on doing things to make this industry stronger, so that, number one, each of us will be able to have more successful businesses, and number 2, we'll be able to keep this organization growing and viable for a long time to come. It sure doesn't look like there's any big fallout coming to the comics business anytime soon, because the world seems to be crazy for all things comics related. We want to make sure, our goal in ComicsPRO is to make sure that the sales in the direct market are the cake for our suppliers and not the frosting. To do that, we have to prove that we can grow the direct market, that we deserve to have a seat at the industry table when big decisions are made, and that we're here for the long term. So your continuing support of the organization is essential.